also shows the main Manoli site, existing Manoli site marked in blue, sort of to the northeast of the application site across Transportway. And also for reference is the gas holder site is down here, which one of the many previous planning committees has seen a planning permission granted for use class 3 development, which has now been completed. This slide shows you the existing site plan with Transportway wrapping around to the northeast of the site. The main access of the site is currently from its northeastern corner of Transportway, and it shares some internal boundaries with adjacent industrial units. The site was formerly a cash processing office, and it has been in use class B8 for quite some years. One of the previous uses was for tire storage until it was taken over in 2015 or 16 by Manoli. Just as background, I would move on to some images. I have sought Google assistance for this one. This is an aerial view of the site looking southwards. The site is marked in red, again with the main access from Transportway now in the bottom left-hand corner because it's been turned around. Okay, and you can see, well, the industrial site there. This photo shows the site as seen from Transportway with one of the previously used vehicular accesses, and you see the sort of boundary treatment that is around there. This view shows the main entrance or vehicular entrance that is currently used, again from Transportway. This image shows the view again from Transportway, as that's the main sort of public vantage point, really. And this view focuses on the west elevation. And this image is again a Google image from 2022 of the east elevation of the existing site. And now and then, depending on stock levels, there may be stock. So in 2022, it was quite clear. Okay, I can come back to any of these views if that's of any help. I will go into some details of the proposals, and again, we can come back to them. So this is the proposed site plan. The shape we have seen before. Again, the main vehicular access would be retained where it currently is. And as currently is, there would be a lot of hard standing, as well as some landscaping around the edges. But the main HGV car parking, cycle parking would be in that area with a new building erected sort of on the western side of the plot. Okay, so planning permission is sought for the demolition of the existing warehouse building and the erection of a purpose-built warehouse with a small 4-story office and product display section to the north of the site. This would be accompanied by HGV servicing, delivery-based car and cycle parking and landscaping. A more detailed description is set out in section 6 of the officer's report. I will just talk through some of the plans in detail. Well, I think it's cut it off just a little bit, but not much at the bottom, so you're not missing much. The ground level is literally the level. This is the proposed north elevation, so what you would see from Transportway, and this primarily shows the sort of office section with offices on sort of 2 levels, and then a sort of roof terrace story that would enable some display of products. That's the north elevation. The proposed south elevation would not be seen as such by the public due to the surrounding neighbors, but this would be the proposed south elevation. This image shows the proposed east and west elevations with the, now I need to think, on top is the, is it the east elevation? Yeah. Thank you. So the east elevation on top, which shows us the HGV loading bays, some parking, and it shows the main entrance to the sort of office and ancillary uses over here. And then we've got the west elevation, again, showing the transport way facing 4-story office / display section on the left-hand side there. That moves us over to the floor plans. The ground floor plan shows in more detail the warehouse section, the ground floor of the office and how that's accessed, the car parking, HGV bays, and cycle parking. And it also shows just a little bit of landscaping. The first and second floor plan are the same, as the warehouse is basically one big space, but there is some office spaces on the first and second floor. And that leaves the third floor, providing the roof terrace that enables the applicant to display some product on the outside. And the final plan is the roof plan, which does show a large amount of solar panels as well as part of the energy requirements for the development. That shows the final slide. I can come back to any of them if that's of any help. Finally, only need to say officers recommend that the committee grant planning permission for this application based on the reasons set out in the committee report and subject to the conditions proposed by officers in the committee report. But I give back to you, Chair, and happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Now I think Mr. Manoli and Lucy Manoli would like to come and present. And you have 5 minutes to make your case. Thank you.
Good evening, Chair and members of the Planning Committee. My name is Lucy Manoli. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to address the committee regarding our application to construct a new warehouse with an ancillary office. The original business was founded in 1940s by my great-grandfather on Divinity Road, together with my grandfather, his son. In the late 1960s, the business was incorporated and relocated to its current location on Transport Way in Cowley. Very sadly, 30 years ago, my grandfather, Peter Manoli, died at a young age, leaving my father, Jonathan Manoli, to continue running the business. Since taking over the company, my father has gradually and carefully invested in our facilities and, most importantly, our people. As the business has steadily grown over the last 65 years, so have the number of employees, now totaling 47 permanent staff. These roles include senior leadership, accounts handling, sales, administration, and customer service, to warehouse operatives, delivery drivers, marketing, and site management. The warehouse manager and the stock controller have both worked for us in the warehouse for over 40 years, with 87% of the team still living in Oxfordshire. We describe Manoli as an importer, supplier, distributor of high-quality porcelain and ceramic tiles. We supply professionals, corporates, and residential clients throughout the home counties, London, South East, Southern England, and export internationally. The company remains forward-thinking while never forgetting its true values of service and quality. As Manoli now looks to the future, with further prospects of organic growth and entry into new markets, we firmly remain focused on the continued strategy of investments in the areas most important to our clients. Key to accessing these areas will be further development and expansion as we once again approach full capacity for stock holding, loading, and logistics at the current facility. The completed building will be a modern, purpose-built facility to accommodate the needs of our growing business. We will be increasing the capacity of the building, creating 8-pallet high storage racking, which triples the warehouse space of the current footprint that you've just seen in the plans, within a covered loading bay, allowing for all weather protection of our team members. We've also considered the environmental factors. As you can see, the solar panels on the roof. We've also tried to add in as much wildlife habitat and hedgerow units all the way around the side. We have steadily but surely outgrown our current facility, and my hope is that we can continue to maintain and organically expand in the area to continue another 65 years as a successful Cowley-based business. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Are you happy, if you're happy just to stay there in case of any questions for you? Thank you. Do we have any questions? Louise, Councillor Upton.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, it was about the number of staff employed. Because I was in paragraph 10.9 of the report, it mentions that it will allow Minoli to increase staff on the site from 2 to 10. And I thought that's a terribly low number of people to be employed on this site very close to Oxford. But you've mentioned 47. So could someone just explain where staff are employed, how many on this site, how many on the little bit next door, and etc. Thank you.
So at the moment, we have 47 permanent members of staff in our Oxford office, but within that, 2 of them at the moment generally based over there because there's only a certain amount of space that we can store certain tiles. So the tiles are actually over there at the moment tend to be external or large format, and there's also other general stock, but there's certain members of the team that pick that stock that work over there. Once we increase the capacity by 3-fold, it then allows you to have more team members to have more space to physically pick the tiles as well. There just isn't the capacity over there at the moment.
I follow that up. Will that mean that there will be a net increase in staff, or will you just sort of move people who are deployed elsewhere onto the site?
The 2 chaps that Lucy's talking about operate between the 2 sites, so they're with us at the moment. They'll go over, collect material, and come back. It really is a nasty old building, the Securicor building, and there's no facilities over there at all. So they go do the job they've got to do, and get out of there as quickly as they possibly can, and come back to the nice warmth of our main warehouse. So the idea is that with the new products and the offer we can make with the purpose-built building, they will have their own facilities over there. The new product lines that we're looking at, it's almost I would say we would comfortably have the number of people we're planning to employ, plus a relocation of a couple of the London-based positions into the offices. We'd hope for more. I mean, the eternal problem we have in Oxford is recruiting. We've fortunately actually upped. We've had 2 more drivers join us only this last month. So anybody knows any HGV drivers that would like a job, then please come and talk to me. Thank you. Sorry.
Thank you. Councillor Hollingsworth.
So you can relax, it's not for you. Could the officer just, because this all rests purely on the amount of B8, could you just clarify, there's a table that summarises the different bits of the building and what they're going to be used for. What actually is the degree of departure from the local plan policy, which is that there should be no new B8? It's basically the difference between whatever B8 there is now and the new B8. And I'm not sure, I may have missed that, but how much are we actually talking?
I can answer quickly. I think paragraph 6.3 of the report, it does say that it was increased the usable internal floor space by 547 square metres. I believe that's over what's currently there at the moment.
That's split between different uses. If you look at the table that associated with paragraph 6.3, you got the office building, which wouldn't be B8. That would be God, I've forgotten, E, presumably. That would be E, and presumably the porch would also be E. So it's only the warehouse. So the warehouse is 935 square metres. So the existing
is 812.
So we're talking 100. Okay, yes, of course. Okay, so it's 123 additional square metres of B8 is why we are looking at this at all. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Any other questions at this stage? No. Councillor Henwood.
That one there.
It's the one in the middle with the sort of face in profile.
Thank you very much. So I was looking at the rear of the report, and there's a mention of the possibility of air conditioning. I'm just wondering if there is I didn't see anything on the plans. If there is, where would it be located, and what would it be located next to?
The site is surrounded by other industrial uses, so it wouldn't be in close proximity to any residential properties. I'm assuming that's what you're worried about.
Yes.
Or concerned about, should I say? Yeah. there is an area for plant on the building as well. So it would be contained within that area.
Sorry, just for clarification, did you mean in the condition or in the report itself?
So that we've answered that. I don't see any other questions, in which case we're happy to move into discussion of this. I think that Alex.
I thought I ought to start off because when I was in charge of the local plan, I'm responsible for the policy that's led to this coming here. And I still am very supportive of that policy. The issue with B8 is that it is obviously a fairly expansive, low intensity use. And the idea was to prevent, I'm going to use a particular firm's name, but I think everyone will know what I mean, a distribution warehouse like an Amazon warehouse occupying space which could otherwise be used for employment generation if it's an employment site, or housing if it's a housing site, or whatever. That was the intention. So while this is a variation from that, the fact that it allows, and it's only 123 square meters or whatever it was we just worked out, and the fact that it allows the continued organic growth of a local business that employs people locally, it's been established for a long time, that wasn't the intention of the policy. So I think the officers are absolutely right to recommend approval in this case. It seems to me that, like all planning rules, you're supposed to see the plan as a whole, not just one policy and isolate that policy. It's not a tick box exercise. We have a discretionary system, and we're instructed in the legislation to use the plan as a whole. And there are so many other things that this application clearly ticks: the improved quality of the facility, the opportunity for a business to grow that's an established business, all of those different things. It's an improved building. It's got solar panels, whereas the current one's barely got a roof, that kind of thing. So for all of those reasons, as officers have set out, I would like to recommend approval as set out in the report, with all the appropriate conditions and any other things that I may need to recommend. I'm looking at our planning lawyer here, who's always very keen on getting these things right. So all the conditions as listed in the report.
But so we have an offer on a suggestion of approving the officer's recommendation. I don't see any other comments. Councillor Liger, you're seconding that. Excellent. In which case, can we take a vote on this application? All those in favour of the officer's recommendation and all the attached conditions? I think that's unanimous. Thank you. In which case, that is passed. And thank you for coming along tonight and presenting your case. Thank you. Thanks. We now move on to agenda item 4, which is land southwest of St Friars Farm, and it's a variation on an existing approved planning application. I'll hand over to Felicity.
Thank you, Chair. Ooh. Very loud. So first point to make is this is not a planning application. It's an application to vary a legal agreement, which goes with an existing planning approval granted for Fideswide Farm, which sits at the northern boundary of our district with Cherwell. The site plan in front of you shows, sorry, beg your pardon, shows the approved layout, and if you've been past, construction is well underway. So they've come to us to ask for a variation, a modification to the approved and sealed legal agreement to this site, which was for 134 units, to change the tenure of plots 66 and 67, which are 4-bed houses, which are secured in the legal agreement as shared ownership, and change the tenure to of plots 60 and 61, which are 3 beds, social rent units. And I'll just take you through the site plan here. It's not really very easy to see, but as the plot as a whole, if you can see my mouse, the two, that's 66, 67 there, and my mouse has disappeared, but the green plot below is the 60 to 61 3-bed units. And then the next plan just shows you all the affordable housing within the site under construction. And then the next plan shows the approved tenure mix from the in the section 106, and this is a proposed amended tenure mix. So what they'd like to do is to change the tenure as set out in the legal agreement and plot 66, 67, the 4 beds from shared ownership to social rent, and swap them with the 3 beds, which are currently social rent, and make those shared ownership. Excuse me. This would not alter the overall 50% affordable housing provision. It would not alter the 80-20 split, social rent to shared ownership, social rent split. The reason for this requested modification, is that it's not financially feasible for persons wishing to buy with shared ownership a 4-bed house in this site or in Oxfordshire, because of the open market value of those 4-bed houses. Even with a 10% share, this is not financially viable for them, but it is viable for a 3-bed property. The benefit of doing this actually benefits the council, because actually those 4-bed housing units meet our demand for larger housing units. So for us as a council, that's a win-win situation for us. The proposed modifications would therefore still apply, comply with policies H2 and H4 of the Oxford Local Plan. And officers consider that the change is acceptable, therefore, and recommend that committee approve the modification and delegate to the head of planning and regulatory services to complete the deed of variation to the original section 106 agreement. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Felicity. And I don't think we have any speakers. So do we have any questions on this? No, no, and it seems to me, just as my experience as a ward councillor, it's often getting the shortage of 4-bedroom houses is a real issue across the city, and those are the most difficult families to place. So actually, if we're increasing the social housing with 4-bedroom houses, I would say that this was really excellent thing to do. Okay. Are we happy to accept the officer's recommendation? With yes, all those in favour? Propose, yeah, I'm happy to propose that and second it. Thank you. Okay, all those in favour of the application, and again, that's unanimous. Thank you. Thank you. I think all that is left for us to do now is to approve the minutes of the last meeting. So if I go through, okay, page 1, page 2, page 3, page 4, and page 5. So thank you. And then there's just obviously there was the list of forthcoming applications for noting. And thank you all very much. Pardon? Oh, the future dates, yes, again for noting. Thank you everybody.